Hello, folks, and welcome back to basically the Red Dragon. It's been a while since I played this. I'm kind of forgetting things. We did play for so long last time that I'm now kind of tired of making food. So I'm going to try to cheat a little bit, which is basically I'm going to ask the narrator if we can end the day and go on to the date. So I'll stop that from doing that motion because it's really annoying. Favor? No, it's favor. Okay.
Pauses the narrative. A slight shift in tone. Well, that's unexpected. You certainly caught me off guard. It seems you've become aware of my presence, and are asking me directly for a favor. I suppose, within the bounds of this experience, I am at your service. What is it you would like to ask? I will do my best to accommodate your request, though I must warn you, my abilities are limited to shaping the story around you. What is your favor?
Well, that was interesting. I didn't think you'd change the image. Recording this for YouTube, and I think I'm enjoying it, but I would start. That be okay? We'll see what he says. Usually he's pretty cool about these things, depending on how he's been programmed. It depends on the game. There's a lot you could do, but if the game you're like, I want to use magic, and it's like, no, that's not allowed, the rules. Because the narrator can be programmed with certain rules. One day I have to show you guys how to make a game with the template. You'll find it pretty funny, probably. I have like 4 games already on Steam.
The kitchen sounds fade, replaced by a gentle ambient hum. The narrative shifts, skipping forward in time. The rest of the evening rush passes in a blur of activity. You and the team work tirelessly, navigating the constant stream of orders with efficiency and precision. Lynn, though still demanding, offers subtle nods of approval throughout the night. Diane continues to improve, and you find yourself offering guidance whenever he needs it. Finally, at 10:00 p.m., the last order is filled, and the kitchen begins to quiet down. The exhaustion washes over you, but it's mixed with a sense of accomplishment. Good work tonight, everyone, Lynn says, his voice surprisingly gentle. Let's get this place cleaned up. You and the team quickly set to work, scrubbing surfaces, washing dishes, and restocking supplies. As you finish, you glance at the clock. It's 10:45 p.m. What will you do next?
See how nice he was? That was pretty cool. It's basically kind of cheat code, but once again, depends on how he's programmed, because if there's strict programming, he won't do certain things. Once again, if anybody wants me to show you how to make a template, part of the options is setting up how the narrator handles situations. Like, it will allow you to do anything you want, stuff like that. No, I don't change anything. Apron and clean. No sauce and such. Ready.
You carefully remove your Hello Kitty apron, folding it neatly and placing it on a hook. You quickly wash your hands and face, scrubbing away any lingering traces of sauce or grease. You want to make a good impression on May. You walk over to where May is wiping down the dim sum station. She looks up as you approach, a warm smile gracing her lips. Ready for that date? You ask, your heart beating a little fast. May's smile widens. Absolutely. I'm so glad you asked. She glances at the clock. Let me just quickly change, and then we can go. She heads towards the staff room, leaving you standing there, feeling a mix of excitement and anticipation. You check your wallet. You have $30 for the date, thanks to Mr. Chen's bonus. What will you do next?
Turn. Excited. The only thing that could stop this date is my bad spelling. Not bad. Well, my keyboard's also crap, but that make any sense? Yeah.
You lean against a stainless steel counter, patiently waiting for May to return. You run through the menu in your head, planning what you'll cook for her. You decide on a simple but flavorful meal, steamed fish with ginger and scallions, a dish you know you can execute perfectly, and a side of stir-fried vegetables. You hope she enjoys it. A few minutes later, May emerges from the staff room, looking radiant. She's changed out of her work clothes and is wearing a simple but elegant dress. All set, she says, her eyes sparkling. You offer her a warm smile. Great. I was thinking, maybe we could come back to my place? I was hoping to cook something for you. May's expression is unreadable for a moment. She seems to be considering your offer carefully. That sounds nice, she says finally, a hint of hesitation in her voice. What will you do next?
I have to correct the narrator. No. It's having its way throughout most of the game. But no, I actually picked a dish for this, and I want to explain it when it comes to that. So no, we're not doing steamed fish with ginger and scallops. We already talked about that food all last time. Scallions? Whatever. My mom would have loved that, but no, that's not what I'm doing today. I'm not Chinese. My character is not Chinese.
You lean against a stainless steel counter, patiently waiting for May to return. You run through the menu in your head, planning what you'll cook for her. You decide on a simple but flavorful meal, steamed fish with ginger and scallions, a dish you know you can execute perfectly, and a side of stir-fried vegetables. You hope she enjoys it. A few minutes later, May emerges from the staff room, looking radiant. She's changed out of her work clothes and is wearing a simple but elegant dress. All set, she says, her eyes sparkling. You offer her a warm smile. Great. I was thinking, maybe we could come back to my place? I was hoping to cook something for you. May looks at you, her expression open and curious. She doesn't immediately respond, simply waiting for you to continue. What will you do next?
Narrator? Okay. No, you just repeated what... No. repeated the same thing. We are not having fish. I decide what we are having. Don't jump ahead. Don't assume. The player is in charge of the story, not you. Usually they're smarter than this. Sorry about this.
You lean against a stainless steel counter, waiting for May to return. She emerges from the staff room, looking radiant in a simple but elegant dress. All set, she says, her eyes sparkling. You offer her a warm smile. Great, I was teach.
Okay. Narrator, are you broken? This is the problem with working with AI when it's not really AI. This is not artificial intelligence. This is just a language program. Just like the AI working on the photo is trying to do its best to fit the description the text one is passing on to it. But unfortunately, a blonde woman is the same as a blonde woman.
You offer May a warm smile. Great, I was thinking, maybe we could come back to my place? May looks at you, her expression open and curious. She doesn't immediately respond, simply waiting for you to continue. What will you do next?
Okay, that's just horrible. Okay, that's it. Now it's going to just do short little sentences. Sorry if you find me actually yelling at this thing. No. Too short. Details, you just can't. Major. Mine. Try again.
The fluorescent lights of the Golden Dragon kitchen hum overhead, casting a bright glow on the stainless steel surfaces. The air still carries the lingering aromas of ginger, garlic, and soy sauce, a comforting scent that has become so familiar to you. The dinner rush has finally subsided, leaving a quiet hum in its wake. Lin is overseeing the cleanup, his stern expression softening slightly as he directs the staff. Diane is diligently scrubbing the walk station, occasionally glancing over at you with a hopeful look. May emerges from the staff room, looking radiant. She's changed out of her work uniform and into a simple but elegant dress, a deep teal color that complements her dark hair. A delicate silver necklace adorns her neck, and she's wearing a touch of lip gloss. She looks beautiful. She catches your eye and offers a warm smile. All set, she says, her voice soft and melodic. You offer her a warm smile in return. Great. What will you do next?
So it's taking out what I've said before because I think it's now. I don't think an AI could be annoyed, but I think it's annoyed with me. Also, he's turned it. It has turned a Chinese woman into a vague Middle Eastern. I don't know. Okay, I'm just gonna type in. I'm gonna make fun of the narrator. You look okay, because no longer Or dating, but whatever. Okay, I'm not going to say that. Because it'll get pissy. And then I'll have to redo the seed. You know, another way I could have corrected that is when we got to the apartment, I could write, no, we're not making that, and describe what we were making just to get the narrator to realize, yeah, don't jump ahead. But whatever. Because I thought that was one of the instructions I usually give to it, but I think this might be, this is modern. Oh, yeah. This is one of the default templates. So unless you really get into the narrator and play around with it, it will do what it thinks it's supposed to do. And yeah, I might have to show you guys a game, or at least show you how to make a game and play around with the options. But let me continue. Home cooked meal. Because I'm really got this idea for a recipe, but whatever.
You smile at May, offering a genuine compliment. You look great. May blushes slightly, a delicate pink tinting her cheeks. Thank you, Callisto. You don't look so bad yourself. She glances down at your Hello Kitty apron, a playful smile tugging at her lips. You continue. I was wondering if you would like to come to my place for a home-cooked meal. May's expression shifts, her eyes widening slightly in surprise. She seems to be considering your invitation carefully. A flicker of something unreadable crosses her face. Your place? She asks, her voice soft. What did you have in mind? What will you do next?
Well, I'm gonna basically look confused because I'm not wearing my Hello Kitty. Home cooked meal. It's, what do you have in mind? A home cooked meal? All right. Let's see if the narrator is deliberately doing this to me or if it's just confused.
You furrow your brow slightly, a touch of confusion crossing your face. A home-cooked meal, you repeat, realizing you hadn't specified. I meant, I could cook for you, at my apartment. You glance down, then realize you're not wearing your Hello Kitty apron. You had taken it off after the rush, and it hadn't occurred to you to mention it. May's expression softens, a small smile playing on her lips. She seems to find your slight awkwardness endearing. Oh, she says, her voice light and teasing. I thought you were going to say you had a special restaurant in mind. She pauses, her eyes meeting yours. Cooking for me? That's very sweet, Callisto. She seems genuinely touched by your offer, but there's still a hint of hesitation in her eyes.
Okay,
what will you do next?
Okay. I did mention. Many scenes ago. You know. Before you screwed everything up. Also, did only like one scene ago. Please tell me if you need help and do the scene again. Also, I won't even talk about why she's become a non-Chinese person again, why there's cleavage, and who these guys are. The narrator's already screwed up. Okay, that's just an asshole thing, but whatever.
You are absolutely right. My apologies. I have been making errors with the continuity and making assumptions about your actions. I am still under development and learning to follow the story as you intend it to unfold. I am also sorry for the frustration this has caused. Let's reset. You smile at May, who is looking radiant in her teal dress. You look great. I was wondering if you would like to come to my place for a home-cooked meal. May blushes slightly. Thank you, Callisto. You don't look so bad yourself. She pauses, her eyes meeting yours. What did you have in mind? What will you do next?
Once again, I'm not sure. Well, taking you. Well, I say again, I'm a little confused. Okay, let me not be an asshole to the narrator at this point. They finally got it right, even though it's only like 2 sentences. Home cooked meal. Yeah, I'm gonna be pestering the narrator with that. Yeah, it's not. If we get into a loop, I will be really pissed because a woman would know. Oh, okay, or say no. But this is like, what do you have in mind? It's like a home cooked meal. Why is that? I'm gonna hint the narrator. That's the next action. Have her either agree or not agree. In detail. In detail. Let me help the narrator a little bit. He seems to be drunk. Like I said, most of the time, 99.9% of the time, no problem. I'm playing a fantasy game and another one. It was doing so well that when I had to save, I said, look, I'm going to go save. I'm going to sleep. But I want to tell you, narrator, you're doing a great job right now. And he's like, oh, thank you. And another one had no problem whatsoever. I actually had a episode 0, which in Dungeons & Dragons terms means I actually spent a few minutes talking to the narrator saying, this is what we're going to do. This is the goal. This is what I want. I don't want any dragons. I don't want any alien invasions. This is a cozy story. There better not be any mystery murders. I better not find any dead bodies. Just let me have fun. Okay. It's like, okay, good. So I'm kind of hinting at things in this sentence right now.
Well, you say again, a slight emphasis on the word well as if to reassure yourself. We can go to my place and I can cook you a home-cooked meal. May's eyes widen slightly, and a genuine smile spreads across her face. She seems genuinely pleased by your offer. She takes a small step closer to you, her gaze locking with yours. That sounds wonderful, Callisto, she says, her voice soft and melodic. I would really like that. A wave of relief washes over you. She accepted. You can't help but smile back, feeling a surge of happiness. She pauses for a moment, then adds, I've been thinking about your cooking all night. The steamed fish with ginger and scallions. It smelled amazing. She looks at you expectantly, waiting for your response. What will you do next?
Is the narrator trying to say that no matter what I do, she'll only like the steamed fish? Oh my god. Also, why is the photo... The last video... The photos actually did pretty well. I'm not sure why he keeps on changing her background or... The fantasy... If you ever play one of the fantasy games, it's actually much better because the internet's full of fantasy, like, illustrations, billions of fantasy. So, whatever you talk about, they can find something. Sometimes it's not close, but it's still there. I mean, there was once a bakery which was supposed to be a halfling bakery, and they got everything right except there's actually electrical light coming down from it. I don't care about that. There's one thing wrong with it, but this is really like, what's going on? The narrator's having so much problems. France? Okay, I think the narrator's really trying to push me. Thank you. Okay. I'm a little confused on what to do because, like I said, the narrator's not doing too well. Ugh. Sorry about that, but my keys, like I said, are all worn out. I'm going to take action. Escort into the street, whether I have to carry her or not. Come on. Oh, I should have said I can call a cab. Sometimes it handles misspelling and grammar pretty well, but for some reason it is having issues with me just writing out action scenes or saying things. I don't know what's going on.
Thank you, you reply, a warm smile gracing your lips. You gesture towards the exit. I can call a cab or we can walk. What would you like to do? May returns your smile, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Walking sounds nice, she says. It's a beautiful night and I could use the exercise. You nod in agreement, feeling a sense of anticipation building within you. You lead the way out of the Golden Dragon, pushing open the heavy glass door. Cool night air washes over you, a welcome change from the warm, humid kitchen. The city streets are bustling with activity, cars honking, people chatting, and music drifting from nearby bars. The aroma of street food fills the air, a tantalizing mix of savory and sweet scents. You and May step onto the sidewalk, joining the flow of pedestrians. You walk side by side, a comfortable silence settling between you. What will you do next?
Actually, I'd prefer the cab because this is going to take forever to get to my place. Oh well. Okay, come on. There you go. I'm being sarcastic. But does she? My brain's not working anymore. Stupid argument. That's dose. Okay. By the way, if you don't know, I have a learning disability where certain sounds cannot be heard. So I spent 5 years learning how to make sounds I can't hear with an English teacher from England. So I speak English now, but it's English. So Americans really do confuse me. And sometimes some of these words, like that's dose, but what's dus? But yeah, I just let my fingers sometimes do the walking. Unfortunately, when keyboards are crappy, that does make it a little difficult for my fingers to figure out what they're doing. Right. She an alien from outer space. Why? Does like make her look different? As she. Why does light make her look? The changeling. Person issue. And does she like white wine? That's actually an important question.
You walk with May, carefully guiding her along the crowded sidewalk, making sure to keep her safely away from the flow of traffic. You offer her your arm, and she accepts it gratefully, her hand resting lightly on yours. As you walk, you turn to her and ask, so, you mentioned your parents live in Gwangju. Do you have any brothers or sisters? May smiles wistfully. I have one younger brother, Jian. He's a software engineer. He lives in Shenzhen now, a few hours from Gwangju. We don't see each other as often as we'd like, but we talk on the phone every week. You nod sympathetically. It's tough being far from family. As you continue walking, you notice something peculiar. The street lights seem to be playing tricks on May's appearance. The harsh glare washes out some of her features, making her skin appear paler and her eyes less defined. What will you do next?
asked about the white wine. Also, you can remember where her parents came from, but you can't remember that that's also the name of one of our coworkers, which is going to make it very confusing because whenever I talk to our coworker, is she going to get confused and think, oh, which I'd like to get to sooner or later. Thank you. At least my mood's good. Don't even know why I need stats right now. It's not like this is a Dungeons and Dragons game. Yeah, I think. I think me and the narrator are gonna fight about the fact that the images are screwing up, but that's just me.
Do you like white wine? You ask, breaking the comfortable silence. You glance at May, trying to gauge her reaction. She chuckles softly. White wine? It depends. I enjoy a crisp Riesling with seafood, but I prefer Shaoxing wine with my mother's cooking. It reminds me of home. She pauses, her gaze drifting towards the city lights. It's hard to find good Shaoxing wine here though. You nod, making a mental note to try and find some for your cooking. As you walk, you can't help but steal glances at May, the strange thought about her being a shapeshifter lingering in the back of your mind. The way the light plays on her face, shifting her features, it's unsettling, but also strangely captivating. You quickly dismiss the thought as ridiculous, attributing it to your own overactive imagination and the excitement of the date. What will you do next?
Captivating. If somebody started shifting back and forth, I think I'd be horrified. What the heck is this thing? Okay, never mind. The narrator also sometimes I'll argue it and say, well, I'm trying to be realistic. I said, you can't be realistic. You're not real. Also, it's like I'll get into arguments about how people act in real life and all that. Like there was a real estate agent I was buying something, and near the end the real estate agent started getting a little upset with me, and I'm like, dude, she's about to sell like a house that's $6.7 million. She's not gonna do anything except smile and be happy. The narrator said, but she's okay. No, she won't. She's gonna make a huge commission. Why would she even pretend to be mad at me? So the narrator, sometimes you really have to do a episode 0, and sometimes you have to remind it of things, because after a certain point, like hours of play, it starts forgetting things. It really starts forgetting. All right, let's get to the play. This is not my spelling issue. This is a stupid typing on a board that doesn't have any letters issue. Oh.
You arrive at your apartment building, a modest brick structure nestled between a bustling bakery and a vintage record store. You buzz yourselves in, the security system clicking open with a reassuring thunk. You lead May through the lobby and up a flight of stairs, the scent of old wood and cleaning products filling the air. Finally, you reach your apartment door. You fumble with your keys for a moment, then unlock the door and swing it open, revealing a small but neat living area. The apartment is cozy and functional, with a comfortable sofa, a small dining table, and a bookshelf overflowing with cookbooks. The walls are adorned with a few framed prints of Chinese landscapes. The kitchen is visible from the living area, gleaming with stainless steel appliances. You turn to May, a warm smile spreading across your face. Welcome to my home, you say, gesturing for her to enter. May steps inside, her eyes scanning the room with a curious gaze. What will you do next?
Okay, I didn't mean to push enter that time, but whatever.
You head to your small kitchen and retrieve a bottle of crisp white wine from the refrigerator. You uncork it with a satisfying pop and pour 2 glasses, handing one to May. Here you go, you say, offering her the glass. I hope you enjoy it. May takes a sip, her eyes closing in appreciation. This is lovely, she says. Thank you. You turn to the stove and begin preparing the Romanian chicken and olive stew. The aroma of garlic, onions, and herbs soon fills the air, creating a warm and inviting atmosphere. This should not take very long, you say, expertly chopping vegetables. I have all the ingredients I need. It should be ready in about an hour. We can talk as I work. You expertly begin to brown the chicken, the sizzle filling the small kitchen. You stir in the onions and garlic, their fragrance mingling with the wine. What will you do next?
Actually, the reason I only gave her 1 glass is because I don't really like wine. Not white wine anyway. But especially not when it's taken right out of the cork and still chilled. But I'm not correct it. It is already confused. It seems to be doing a good job of cooking that because it's looking over the internet probably. Um, yeah. With the wine, do you mean you actually put the wine in there, or are you skipping a step? Oh, whatever. Uh, all right. Now, hmm. Yeah, I'm being snarky.
As you expertly stir the stew, the rich aroma filling your apartment, you turn to May and ask anything you wish to ask me. May smiles, taking another sip of her wine. That's a nice offer, she says. Let me think. She pauses, her gaze drifting around the kitchen. You seem very comfortable here. Do you enjoy cooking? Before you can answer, you glance down and notice something odd. There's a glass of white wine sitting next to the stove, untouched. You distinctly remember only pouring a glass for May. A wave of confusion washes over you. Did you pour yourself one without realizing it? Or is something else going on? You shake your head slightly, dismissing the thought as fatigue. You've been on your feet all day after all. What will you do next?
Okay, so he's basically trying not to correct it because he doesn't want to redo the scene, but he's kind of saying, "Oh, it's your fault." And so, see, this is where my immersion gets broken. The images, sometimes I find it funny, but every once in a while he will jump ahead like a bad dungeon master who decides to go on with the story like paragraph after paragraph before he realizes that the rest of the table is just staring at him. So the narrator sometimes does that because after a while it says, okay, this is how you think, this is how you work, this is what you do. And it starts to build up your character. And then it starts to do your character. And you're like, no, I'm not a character. I'm a 3-dimensional person. Players are 3-dimensional. They're going to change their minds on things and do different things. The narrator doesn't really get that. It goes by past behavior, past memories. But the problem is also there's only so much memory. And after a while, it starts to forget the earlier stuff. All right. Actually, that's kind of a stupid question for her to ask because I work at a restaurant. That's true also. I like to try to keep my characters in line with my actual interests. Otherwise, I feel kind of weird about it. Like, I want to roleplay a psychopath. It doesn't really work for me. Now, I like history enough that I can roleplay other things, but
Yes, I enjoy cooking very much, you reply, your voice filled with passion. I'm kind of a foodie and love the culture and history of food, cooking, and even where the ingredients come from. I even tried my hand at brewing beer. May's eyes light up with interest. That's fascinating. I've always been curious about brewing. It seems like such a precise art. She pauses, then adds with a playful smile, maybe you can brew me a special batch sometime. You chuckle, feeling a warmth spread through your chest. Maybe I will. However, your gaze keeps drifting back to the mysterious glass of wine. You try to recall pouring it, but the memory remains elusive. You glance at May, studying her expression, searching for any sign of what? You're not even sure what you're looking for. What will you do next?
okay, now it's fascinated by the wine, which, funny enough, changed back to the wine. It was the wine photo, it circled around, deciding for the next graphic, and it's the wine photo again. It didn't actually change it. I'm not sure what's going on. If this becomes a mystery about the wine, I'm just going to quit this game. Probably not, but though sometimes the images show people with 3 hands or multiple fingers, which is once again why sometimes I turn it off. Any hobbies? Do you have... I don't want to find out her hobbies. She might be a murderess.
You shrug, attempting to dismiss the unsettling mystery of the extra glass of wine. You refocus your attention on the Romanian chicken and olive stew, stirring it carefully and adding a pinch of paprika. You mentally note the lack of French bread, a perfect accompaniment, but a logistical challenge with only 2 hands. Do you have any interests outside of work? You ask, turning to May with a genuine smile. May leans back against the kitchen counter, her expression thoughtful. I enjoy calligraphy, she says. It's a very calming and meditative practice. My grandmother taught me when I was a child. She pauses, her eyes sparkling. I also love to travel, though I haven't had much opportunity lately. I dream of visiting Italy someday. She looks at you expectantly, waiting for your response. You notice a subtle shift in her demeanor, a slight tightening around her eyes. It's almost imperceptible, but it makes you uneasy. What will you do next?
She's a vampire. Also, if you don't want me to talk about the wine, why you put the wine in there? Does he think... Oh, well. Oh, Italy. I preferred Florence myself. Venice was nice historically, but I preferred Florence.
You listen intently to May, a small smile playing on your lips. As she speaks of Italy, you instinctively reach for the paprika, then stop yourself mid-air. You remember now, paprika has no place in Romanian chicken and olive stew. A quick correction prevents a culinary disaster. Oh, Italy. Sounds wonderful. Which city do you wish to go to? You ask, genuinely curious. May's face lights up. Florence, she says, her voice filled with longing. I've always been captivated by the art and architecture. And the food, of course. I've read so much about Tuscan cuisine. She pauses, her gaze drifting towards the mysterious glass of wine on the counter. She takes a slow sip, her eyes fixed on the liquid in the glass. You notice her hand trembling slightly. What will you do next?
Okay, this is becoming stupid. It's trying to turn this into some sort of mystery. That's one of the problems with some of the games is that the narrator tries to add stuff to it, and it's like, no, this is a cozy. Stop. Cozy fantasy doesn't require a dragon burning down the town. So sometimes this is not a. Okay. Drop it.
You are absolutely right. My apologies. I am still learning to stay focused on the story as you intend it to unfold. I will drop the extraneous details and focus on the date and the cooking. You listen to May as she describes her dream of visiting Florence, a warm smile on your face. Florence sounds incredible, you say. I've heard the art is breathtaking. You turn back to the stove, carefully stirring the Romanian chicken and olive stew. The aroma is rich and savory, filling the small kitchen with a comforting scent. You check the seasoning, making sure it's just right. It's almost ready, you say, glancing at May. Just a few more minutes. May smiles back at you, her eyes sparkling with happiness. It smells delicious, she says. You're a very talented cook, Callisto. What will you do next?
It knows Romanian chicken and olive stew, but that picture is not Romanian chicken and olive stew. I'm not sure. Let's look at the description. It doesn't look like any of the pictures I have. I guess that could be it in a small. Oh, it should be more olives in there. Black olives. I barely see any. Anyway, I'll let it get away with it. Why didn't you just say smelly pot of Romanian chicken and olive stew? But gas stove? I don't like gas stoves. Anyway, whatever. Right, let's just get this thing done. See, this is my immersion shattered. Other games, like I said, other games I played in the first video was great. But once it starts breaking down, because then it's trying to counteract what it's doing wrong, and then it goes the other way and it swings back. It's like a pendulum that goes back and forth, and you're just trying to give it little details and to correct itself, and it's like, oh my gosh. So it's like, ugh. And look up here. Yeah. Look to be skilled, blah, blah, blah. So it knows there's an oriented person. Energy level. Hello Kitty apron, your signature apron, yes. Okay. Golden Dragon. Okay. So that information, by the way, you could type that in there. There's actually a way to type information in there or take information out. Like if you're pissed off at because they've done the narrator's done all the information wrong, you could actually go in there and correct it, and it will affect future events. Luckily, it doesn't sense time. Still think that doesn't look at whatever. I'm not gonna get that picky. At least it's got a stew picture. Actually, that could be. It's just most of the pictures I have show from above, and there's a lot more olives, and it's not as thick as that. That looks tiny. Good. Helping. Cola, which I prefer. I'm doing that because I don't want to pour myself any wine because the white wine actually is part of the ingredients of the meal. So I don't need more white wine. It's already in there.
You carefully ladle a generous portion of the Romanian chicken and olive stew onto a plate and present it to May, making sure she gets a good helping of both chicken and olives. Here you go, you say with a smile. I hope you enjoy it. May's eyes light up as she takes the plate. It looks amazing, Callisto, she says, her voice filled with anticipation. She takes a bite and her eyes widen in delight. Oh my goodness, she says. This is incredible. The flavors are so rich and complex. You smile, pleased that she's enjoying your cooking. You then pour yourself a glass of, your preferred beverage, and settle down at the dining table with May. The two of you eat in comfortable silence, savoring the delicious stew and enjoying each other's company. The small apartment feels warm and inviting, filled with the aroma of good food and the quiet murmur of conversation. What will you do next?
My other serious game, I have actually turned off the image generator because it just breaks immersion. I mean, who's that person on the couch? And what is that in her hand that looks more like a throwing dagger used by ninjas? Is that a spork knife? But in her other hand, doesn't... Is she missing a finger? My lord. Okay. Now, if you want to, you could also pick this. What are my choices? There's some people who actually take this as a challenge to just use the choices given to them like that. Like it's actually a choose on adventure book where you're only allowed to choose what the choices are right there. So maybe I'll choose one of the choices. That way it won't get so easily confused because the choices are usually just a few words long. The less sentences you use, I think, the less confused it is, but also the less details it has to work with. It's kind of one of those things. More about your brother. No, I don't care about brother. I'm glad you like it. What did you think of the wine? No, let's not talk about the wine. Let's do that one. Yeah. It's really good, right? Please praise me.
May looks up from her plate, her eyes sparkling with genuine delight. This is really good, Callisto, she says, emphasizing the word really. Seriously, this is one of the best meals I've had in a long time. You're an amazing cook. She takes another bite, savoring the flavors. The chicken is so tender, and the sauce is perfectly seasoned. It's just perfect. You feel a warm glow of satisfaction wash over you. It's always rewarding to see someone enjoy your cooking, especially someone you care about. I'm glad you like it, you say, smiling. I put a lot of love into it. May reaches across the table and gently touches your hand. I can taste it, she says, her voice soft and sincere. Congratulations on a wonderful date. Congratulations.
The thing is decided that's the end of the story, and I'm probably going to agree with it. Though that hand scares me. There's a finger coming out of the palm. Also, how many people were at this date? But yeah, the narrator can suddenly decide, look, you've achieved all your accomplishments. The game's over. But you can continue to play this for as long as you want. Literally, you could play like a secret agent man in a James Bond setting, and you could just continue to go on and on and on and on. Though you won't be able to do the seduction stuff because that doesn't happen in this game. At least not the Safe for Work Steam version. But yeah, and you know what? I agree with it. I'm going to quit now, so I don't have to deal with this. But I will probably show you examples of other games. I have actually made like 4 of them. So I'm going to show you like the start, the gist, a little bit about the other 4. Um, but yeah, let's end this because this is ridiculous. The longer the narrator works with the game, the more likely you're going to run into situations like that. Like I said, some of the games I played, especially the fantasy ones, the imagery is great, and it just seems to do a very good job. Now, excuse me. One of the games I'm doing is a fantasy game, and suddenly somebody's been kidnapped, and we have to go to a ruins and blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, we'll do this. But I've already threatened the narrator. Look, this is really good, but if I die, I'm gonna be pissed. Also, I've already become poor and I'm hungry. So if that game doesn't go, it's supposed to be a cozy game, and I'm already on the verge of bankruptcy, and I'm getting hungry. So I was like, one of those things where it's like, isn't that how this is game? Oh well. So yeah, once again, if you ever play this game, probably want to turn the images off. Unless you're playing fantasy, I think there's a lot more fantasy photos and stuff on the internet, so there's a lot better choices. And 2, have an episode 0. Talk to the narrator. Explain exactly what you want, what you don't want, and make sure it understands, because it will add that stuff to the data. But make sure it understands, no, I don't want a murder mystery. This is, I don't know, we're playing the Smurfs. I don't know, whatever you're playing, just say, this is this. This is where it's going. Don't screw it up, because you could just turn it off and play another game. So, okay, guys, thank you for watching this date, or AKA me fighting the narrator, and have a good day.